local fire departments and things along those lines. As a
You didn't even know what the IAEA was. Stop bullshit.
Yes, I did.
Hold on.
You had to Google that.
I did not have to Google
No, I Googled that. First of all,
No,
I
Woody
Googled
did.
that.
I did not.
No, I did. I Googled it. You heard my little computer. First of all, Iran was not authorized under the 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA, to enrich uranium to 60%. The deal was limited to enrichment of 3.67, a level sufficient for civilian energy production. Starting in April of 2021, Iran escalated to 60% enrichment, which was considered a short technical step from 90% weapon grade levels, triggering condemnation from the US and European power. And it
What happened in
violated
2021 for them to do that?
sorry. Hold on. I was
Year was it
still
that
talking
they
last.
enriched to that?
That violated the 2015 JCPOA that was put in place. So they actually started doing this in 2021. So it wasn't even under Trump that they started doing it under. They started doing it under Biden.
The JCPOA does not matter anymore. That was ripped up in 2017. So they don't have to go based off of the JCPOA anymore because Trump ripped it up. Why would they need to?
Andrew, your icon is very apropos. You're a sheep in wolf's clothing. Reverse that. You're definitely not. You didn't vote for anybody but a Democrat. Come on.
I'm pro-ICE. Why would I be left-wing?
If you're
You're just a wolf in sheep's clothing, dude.
Okay, so what is Iran's purpose when they say they want to destroy the West, Andrew?
Where's the evidence that they want to destroy the West?
The
Death
fact
to
that
America? Is that what you're talking about?
they say both.
When they attack us on our soil, that's pretty clear.
When have they attacked us on our soil?
They've hit many of our bases. Haven't they?
Our bases,
That's not
our
our soil.
embassies.
That is our
Yes,
soil,
it
my
is.
guy.
Yes, then
We
you're wrong,
invaded
Andrew.
them.
We didn't invade Iran.
Yeah, in the
Wake up.
Iran-Iraq war, we invaded them.
Iraq
Did you not know
Iraq invaded Iran and Kuwait, correct?
Doesn't matter. We had troops there in Iran.
Andrew Shashi, because you want to make this a historical thing, right? Who invaded Iraq initially?
Doesn't matter. The American troops
Okay, Andrew, I'm going to answer
were
your
unalived
question. All
because
your
they were
answers
in
are wrong.
Iran, not
Okay,
because
so
Iran came here.
Iraq invaded Iran and Kuwait during that time. They had the fourth largest military in the globe. They touted that they weren't going to let these inspectors in to look for weapons of mass destruction. Basically, Saddam Hussein said, come and get me, okay, and put us into a corner. We went in there. We removed the threat of the invasion. We subdued the military. We did not remove him from power because we had an agreement with the other Middle Eastern states not to do so. And then in the second time around, okay, when we were looking for WMDs, that's where he said he wasn't going to let the inspectors in. He didn't want to validate that he didn't have these things. He tried to bluff and saber rattle, and he bought himself a second war.
So you're for the Iraq war now?
Am I for it? I
You're a
didn't say it was a good
neocon.
premise.
Okay, I'm arguing with a neocon rhino.
No, you're a schmatzy in sheep's clothing.
You're a
you
neocon
said they
rhino.
tore it up.
That's who I'm arguing with. Now it makes
Hold on.
sense.
No, dude, you can't even give a straight
Andrew.
answer that 60% uranium is a next jump to military grade uranium, dude. You were just a disingenuous troll.
They've
Yeah,
had
pretty
60% for years. They haven't done anything with
And
it.
they've been trying to enrich
No,
the
they
weapons
haven't.
grade. It takes a significant jump in technology in order to enrich uranium.
No,
to
they
that point.
haven't. That's a lie.
You need to have
enrich to 90% from 60%. It only takes 3 weeks to get to weapons grade from 60%. They've had it for years.
Exactly. So they've never tried to do it. If they had tried, it would have taken them only 3 weeks, but obviously they didn't.
Because we know more than what the global intelligence.
Were wrong. The Islamic State does not believe in unaliving women and children like that.
They don't believe in unaliving women and children. They literally just hung a 19-year-old wrestler for protesting.
Islamic fucking.
I was gonna say, Soup.
No,
we can
Soup. So
hear- I can barely
justify
hear
them
you.
literally publicly hanging a 19-year-old boy.
19-year-old boy, that's a man.
19-year-old is considered a man in these.
Oh, I'm sorry. So okay, so now you're going to consider 19 years old a fully functioning man, right?
So
Not
if an American betrayed their own country,
do these radicalized Islamic countries allow for girls to go to school? Hey, do these countries allow for women to go to school, vote, and drive?
It doesn't refute anything that I just said.
Okay, so all right.
so if someone in the CIA was 19 years old and they betrayed America, you wouldn't want them arrested because they're a boy?
I wouldn't want them publicly hung.
It's crazy, Woody. I think it's crazy that you're sitting here saying that.
I think it's crazy the fact that you guys are literally supporting the radicalized Islamic.
So you sound like
Hold
a
on, Woody.
liberal.
Hold on,
Woody.
Woody.
You sound
Hold
like a
on.
liberal.
Hold on. When it comes to our border, you
sound
talk
like a
about
man that hasn't done
military
anything in his life,
males
Andrew.
coming over our border. So what are we talking about here? Are 19-year-olds military-aged men, or are they children, in your opinion, Woody?
What's the science say? When is a man's brain fully formed?
25.
Woody, it's a question
25.
that I made up and stopped.
You're one
pivoting
of these liberals that want to raise the age of
When is a man
consent.
allowed? When is a man allowed
Andrew.
to buy? Hold on. When is a man allowed to buy alcohol or cigarettes in our country?
Buddy, you guys were complaining about people.
When
coming
are you allowed to
over
legally
being
buy a drink, my guy?
military-aged males when we're talking about 18 and 19-year-olds.
I don't agree with it being 18.
Once you start talking about an unaliving in the,
You obviously
in
don't
another
have children yourself. If you-
Woody,
you
hold
think that-
on.
So
Hold
I don't
on.
know if you guys caught this, but I just exposed Woody as being a Democrat because he wants to raise the age of consent to 25, like a
No, he
feminist
didn't say
talks
that.
about.
He did say that.
That's what he said. He said the man
You're a
it doesn't
lazy-
fully
you're a
develop
lazy-
their brain
you're
until
just a lazy
25.
debater, my guy.
Hey,
Well,
that's exactly what feminists say.
Hello, excuse me. Hello. Hi. Real quick, we have a new person in the panel. Wes, age, state, and who'd you vote for?
Yeah, 34, Tennessee. I voted for Trump this time.
Okay, hold on one
Mute
second.
up. We don't hear your making
Yeah.
eggs in the background.
I'm gonna put you on mute just for a minute, bud. Okay, Soup. I kind of agree. I think some things should be to 25. Now, however, speaking to the consent form, yes, 19 is considered a man. And to the flip side of that, if you're willing to die for our
The
country in the military, then you should be allowed to experience all the things of adulthood. But I missed how we got on that because I could barely hear you. I'm sorry.
His Soup said
Agree with you 100%, Samantha, by the way. If you're 18 and you can join the military, you should definitely be allowed to smoke. So that argument by Woody was so idiotic.
Well, hold no, hold on, shut out. Woo, hello, hold on, Woody, or hold on,
aggressive
Soup.
little comments.
Hello, hold on. We are not gonna start that now. We have been really nice up here. We've had our discussions, we've had our disagreements, but not once has anyone stepped toes and called somebody inappropriate names that I have called. So let's not start, okay? Let's
I
not
said the
start.
argument was idiotic, to be fair. I didn't insult him.
But that's still insulting. You passive
Yeah,
aggressive.
it's a little passive aggressive. Let's not
All
do
right, I
that.
won't use that sort of language then. My bad.
You just
All right.
did.
Thank you.
All right,
Reason
can
we
I say
got
that I
onto
won't
this
now?
argument-
Can I be
Hold
redeemed?
on, Andrew. Hold on, Andrew. So the reason we got onto this argument is because I said that the Ayatollah had claimed haram against nuclear boom booms, right?
Okay.
Because in the Quran, it is haram to unalive women and children. And then Woody wanted to bring up a 19-year-old who, by all definitions, is a man.
Okay, we're past that. I got
of my
that.
feelings, regardless of my feelings or Woody's feelings or anybody's feelings. And then I asked about at the border. One of the main complaints from the right was that the people coming over the border were military-aged men. And
Okay,
we're
so-
talking about 18 and 19-year-old people. So
Okay,
you
so-
cannot hold within the same breath that those are men and this 19-year-old who was unalived by Islamic extremists is a child. That's
Okay,
my
cool.
only
So,
argument. You got to hold true to the
let's just-
full.
Okay. All right, so okay, hold on. Go ahead, West.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, one of the reasons why I hopped in here was because I think we're getting hung up on the use of the term boy. Obviously, I think that term was probably used in order to evoke a little bit more emotion around the subject.
Yep.
However, the biggest issue isn't that a boy or a man or a 19-year-old or whatever you want to call him. The problem isn't necessarily just the age. The problem is that we're dealing with a regime who says that because someone doesn't want to sing a national anthem or they want to protest peacefully in some way, we're not talking about someone brought up being an agent against the state, and if they were a traitor, wouldn't you want to see them? Well, yeah, but generally protesting a regime isn't being a traitor. Now the problem is that it is obviously considered being a traitor in Iran. So the issue, though, is we're dealing with that kind of a regime. And so I just don't think we need to be getting hung up on the boy-man thing. The problem that I think it was Woody who was bringing up, the general problem that he was bringing up was that we're dealing with this regime who thinks it's okay to do this to their people.
Mm-hmm. And Jim,
Yeah,
It's
there
not their
Jim,
people.
just
is a
oh my
gross.
gosh.
The regime of
Guys,
error.
hello.
Hello.
Guys, hello. One person at a fucking time. She can only hear one of you, not fucking all of you. Now shut the fuck up and go on mute.
And welcome to my spicy sister. Jim, I am, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, it is definitely, they are going after women, men, children, non-believers. I mean, basically, it is a regime where if you don't agree with the narrative, then unfortunately you are unalived or you're taken and you're beaten. And, there's a lot going on. And for the person in the comment, and I kind of missed who that was, don't you dare sit there in the comments and go after somebody else in the comments and say that it's not true. Because again, unless you're, and I'm going to be very blunt and use some big girl words, unless you are fucking feeding or financing someone, don't come and say that you know what is true and not true. Unless they are saying something that can be properly fact checked, don't do that. Because I'm not going to come to you and say that I don't believe that you're Democratic or I don't believe you're Republican or I don't believe you're married to this person. Because again, I don't fuck you, I don't feed you, I don't finance you. That's all. Thank you.
So
Thank you, Samantha.
may I add
Thank you.
may I add to what West has said there? So
Absolutely.
if we say that it is not haram to, or that is haram to unalive women and children, then we would see that Iran wouldn't sponsor groups that are, say, like embedded in, say, the Gaza, that refused to give up their children and their women they took as hostages. And they would also publicly condemn the rape that those women faced, the unalivement that the children experienced, the destruction of their bodies after them being released. None of that is actually supported by their actions and the things that we've seen them actually supporting, right, in their various support of the Hezis, the Houthis, and the Hamas groups.
But you realize the Hamas group isn't even the same denomination as them, right?
You realize that they're
Sunnis.
supported by Iran, right?
Yeah,
Are they financed by
monetarily,
Iran?
not
Are-
ideologically.
So again, goalpost shift.
How is
Sorry,
that a
real quick.
goalpost shift? It's not even the same religion. What are you talking about?
What separates their two religions? Not their religions. It's the same religion, Andrew.
They have unalived each other.
Hold on. Is Sunni and Shiite the same religion? Because you just said it's two different
Okay,
religions.
hold
It's
on.
totally
hold
two
on,
different
Hold
religions.
on. Samantha wants to say something. Hold
Oh,
on.
I was just going to call out, but I ended up muting the person instead. I was going to
Oh.
say, despite what you think, I don't care if, I have no desire to fuck Trump. I don't have a daddy complex, and I damn sure don't have a grandpa complex. I'm perfectly happy fucking my husband and flirting with a few people who come in and out of this panel. They know who they are. But yeah, no, again, if you're going to be disrespectful in the comments, I'm just going to mute you. I'm done with it. I've been doing this for 10 hours today, last night and today. So yeah, you can fuck all the way off. But anyway, I'm sorry guys to keep interrupting you. I am so sorry. I try to remain quiet until I'm needed, but you know,
The
got some
similarity
dumbasses
between
down there.
Sunni and Shia is like the similarity between Mormons and Protestants.
Exactly.
They're kind of the same, but they believe in different leaders.
Mormons
Like,
don't believe in the
it's
same
separation
heavenly
of,
structure.
of cousins or who was going to take over the faith. But
So-
it still has created so much tension between them that they unalive
Right.
each other.
that is
on
But
massive-
if I can hop in here, I don't think that that's not really analogous because because Mormonism, again, for instance, does the Shiite versus Sunni, do either of them have separate revelation outside of the Quran to help guide their faith? Because that's the difference between a Christian and the Mormons, is that they have extra revelation given
God's
to
faith.
them by a secondary prophet. So, but Sunni and Shiite, they don't have any disagreement that the Prophet Muhammad is the prophet and that the Quran is the final revelation. What you're dealing with is what you're dealing with is different. Hold on. If I
Hold
can,
on. Hey, whoa.
Guys,
yeah, if I can finish.
Wes,
What
go
you're
ahead.
dealing with is differences in interpretation of the same text between Sunni and Shiite. That's what you're dealing with. Yes, there's different leaders. What you're dealing with LDS and Christians isn't just different interpretation. It's an entirely new and different revelation on top of an existing text. So you can't compare those two together. Mormons and Christians are not the same. They will use the same language, but they're not the same religion. Sunni and Shiite Muslims are absolutely the same religion, although one may have a more extreme interpretation of the same texts and the same prophets. But those are not analogous.
That's correct. And the
Well-
fact that you even have a different heavenly structure. at
Well,
the-
there is a little bit more to it than that, because there is obviously the same scripture between the two, but they
Mhm.
also have an oral tradition that the Shiites
Sure.
reject a lot of. So
Well, sure, but that's
Um,
not separate. But that's not oral tradition is not separate. Is not separate prophecy or separate revelation.
it is
They
separate
accept that the
prophecies.
Quran. Well, no. My point is that oral tradition is not prophecy. Oral tradition is not prophecy. Oral tradition is simply because,
There
for
are
instance,
prophecies
you have
in the oral
the
tradition.
Jewish. The Jewish faith have separate have some of them have separate oral traditions as well. The oral tradition is just it'd be like, for instance, in the Christian tradition, we have the different councils. You have the councils of Dort, the councils of Nicaea. It's just a compilation of what they're talking about their own faith. So yes, that's it. But that just lends to what I said, which the different oral traditions is just a different tradition of interpretation of the same texts.
But the
it's the
conclusion
exact
should
same-
be that the difference is enough for there to be a reason to unalive each other, right? That's what fundamentally the reason we're even
that's
talking
what
about
they,
this.
Yeah, well, that's what they believe. But I'm not contending that. I'm just contending the argument that they're two separate religions. They're not. They're the
They are.
exact same religion. They're the exact same religion with the exact same texts, the exact same prophets. They differ on oral
Sunnis
tradition. which
believe
is simply-
Shias are not the same religion,
understand-
and vice versa.
I understand.
So
I
how do you
understand.
disagree with them?
Just them saying that they're not the same religion. It's that they're saying they're essentially. Well, I don't know what I don't know what the word is for that Islamists would use, but for us it would be like they're apostate. So they're arguing that they're taking our religion and they're adding to it or twisting to it, and so therefore it became different. But the point is that it's not two separate religions. It's two
But
separate
why are we
interpretations
talking
of-
about this? We're talking
because
about
you
it
brought
because
up,
it matters politically.
I'm contending your analogy of the Book of Mormon versus using
That wasn't me,
Mormonism
but-
and Christianity. Well, whoever that was, that's all I'm contending. I'm not suggesting that they don't both view each other as not
They
the
view
same,
each other as
or else-
rivals. That's my point.
Absolutely. I
So-
totally understand that they view
So
each other as rivals.
whoever was saying that, why don't Iran, condemn October 7 or whatever? Well,
Right.
they don't even agree ideologically. So why would
Sure.
you you know
If they don't agree
uh,
ideologically, then they wouldn't
I
support
mean, I
the
get
defense of Israel, right?
it's political. They
Nyla, I'm
support
good with
them
that
for
box setup
political
because now I can
reasons.
see the comments.
This one.
Yeah, I'm good with
Okay.
that.
That
I was
group,
just trying to mess with it and get it back to where it was, but it wasn't working. So I was like, okay, maybe the bigger boxes are better.
Yeah, no, this is great. Real quick, hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt you guys. Ronnie, how are we doing that to women and children here exactly? I would love for you to explain.
We're
But
doing it
anyway,
there.
continue.
We're doing it there.
No. He said,
Reports about the girls' school are coming closer and closer to being us. Like we've had a U.S. whistleblower say that it was our missile that hit this girls' school. We are
it wasn't.
unaliving women and children.
It wasn't.
What are you talking? It was a Tomahawk. Even Donald Trump said it was a Tomahawk. There's only 2 other countries that have Tomahawks. And if you're telling me that the Netherlands or Australia sent a fucking Tomahawk into Iran, I don't know what to tell you. We
No,
did.
it wasn't.
It wasn't
It
on
wasn't.
purpose. I don't think it was on purpose, but I think it was because we did not have the correct intel in order to know what was not in that school.
I think it was on purpose for a child sacrifice to Ball.
See,
Yeah, you're fucking crazy.
He's an idiot, plain and simple.
Why do you disagree with that?
Why do I disagree? I'm not going to try to even
A child's
argue.
school, a
I'm
girl's
not going to try to
school.
argue the fact that you're trying to link this back to
If
some
you're
kind
a
of
devil worshiper, that would be the best place to unalive someone.
Yeah, and I think that you have just lost all touch with